Hello, this is Kevin Collins at Cedia 2013 with Home Theater Forum. We're here at the Anthem Paradigm booth with Brian, and we're going to go over the new AVRs that are in the Anthem lineup. Brian, I'm a big Anthem fan. I have a D2V2 3D for my pre-pro, and really enjoy it. And I'm quite interested to see what you have here on the AVR front. There's a couple new features that you were talking to me about, particularly in the room correction. Anyone that's Anthem is very into ARC. Could you kind of just, as we'll go through some of the things, tell us about what's new in ARC with these AVRs?
Absolutely, Kevin. We knew we had a great thing with the original ARC on the original MRX receivers, but to be successful with custom integration, we wanted to be more efficient and faster, and while we were at it, improve sound quality as well. So in the previous generation, we used an RS-232 configuration, and it took more time and required a keyspan adapter. The new versions use Ethernet, which give us vastly faster measurement time, better accuracy, and better convenience for the custom integrator.
I see that Ethernet port there, and I'm a little jealous because on my D2 I have serial, and more for me than the ARC is doing the firmware upgrades over serial with the computer is kind of not a very pleasant experience. So I assume that you can do firmware upgrades over the Ethernet port too?
What we've decided to do, because of stability, interestingly enough, Ethernet is not as stable as we would like to support the really involved material that has to get uploaded when you do a firmware update. So for these receivers, we went with a USB approach instead, which simply plugs in the USB, touch the cursor on the front of the receiver, and it completes the entire process on its own. It gives us the reliability we have to have, because unfortunately with Ethernet, if you lock up during a firmware process, you could create a real problem for that component. Where with USB, we have the level of confidence that that data will get in there properly, and we'll have a fully functioning unit when we're done.
With my D2, you know, I still use the individual remote. I'm not a big URC kind of put all my stuff into a universal remote. What do you guys have that, you know, because it's dark, I can't necessarily the keys, I have to hit one and then kind of look, my vision's getting bad. And you know, what's out there that you guys are doing to kind of address that problem? IP control was vital to the next generation of MRX. It's worth noting that when we went at this next generation, we started right at the very beginning. We started over 3 years ago with the development of this receiver, and IP control, IP addressability, so that the custom integrator can use whatever plan that they have that works best for their clients, so that you can have a system that really is intuitive to what they want. It can be tailor-made to the way they want it. So our concern wasn't to create a new remote. Our concern was to make anything they wanted to use a snap. So all of the apps for Crestron, for Control 4 had to be available right from the get-go, so we could give them this, you know, the kind of stability and convenience their customers demand without question. If you're a DIYer like me, it just likes good equipment, is there iOS or Android apps that I can use for remote control to get to these receivers?
I'm delighted that there is, and on a personal note, I've got both an iPad and an Android phone, and I'm excited to use both of them on the receiver. And that's the thing that folks are comfortable with. We know for sure that people will really enjoy higher fidelity if they can use it with a level of convenience that they know, that they're familiar with. And those things on the consumer side, we consider to be a very high priority before this would ever see the light of day.
So I see that you have 3 AVRs here that you're announcing. They'll be available later in the year, I believe. You have the 310 all the way up to 710. Could you just give us a quick rundown on what, you know, some of the feature differences are between them?
Absolutely. With the 310, you do start off with a great host of features and performance from the start. It's the only one of the 3 that is a 5-channel configuration. Beyond that, it has all of the main parts of quality and performance and ease of use that they all have. So it will pass 4K. We can take the optical out, or we can take digital and use that for the second zone without having to send out a redundant RCA, and a very good power supply and very good output to 5 channels. When we go to the 510, we add an additional HDMI output for the front. We increase the power supply, we increase the current, and the same ARC kit is included with all 3 models. And it's worth noting for that, that ARC kit is anything but generic. A calibrated microphone, which you're familiar with, so we know it measures right, the pivoting tripod, and special firmware that actually knows that microphone file so that we get an absolutely accurate reading when we're taking ARC measurements. We even include the USB cable to go from the mic to the receiver. And of course now your keyspan adapter is no longer needed, not to rub it in, but through Ethernet that part won't be there.
And then in the 710, it must be higher power output?
Higher current, and to audiophile faithful, a toroidal core transformer is a wonderful thing. And I actually own a 700, and I can tell you that while all three amplifiers are wonderful, that toroidal core transformer with the new ARC that takes twice the samples per channel with a higher quality DAC, it's the audiophile special of the three.
Great. Now if I already have, I'm a separates kind of guy, so I already have my amps, so I could still use this as a pre-pro and then output my channels here to my existing amps.
I would really encourage everyone to use high quality RCA connections. Not being a pre-pro, you're not going to see XLR connections on it, but very good RCA connections exist out there, and you can either use this as a complete pre-pro or a part of it. Let's say you get some really great main speakers and you'd like to get a high power 3-channel amp for the mains and then use the MRX for 2 or 4 surround channels, that's fine. Or they can use an existing amplifier for all 4 channels in the center and bi-wire or bi-amplify the backs and the mains for the front. So we've been very creative with amplifier technology. We know it's going to matter. If you've got really high performance speakers, the amp has to be there too. And we've made sure you can do it both ways.
Well, great. Thanks for your time, Brian.
You bet.
The new stuff here is the new AVR lineup with, I think, some of the top MRX.
You just want to buy one, I know.
Yeah, I do. And we're here at Cedia 2013 at the Anthem booth.